Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to European Truck Simulator 2, and welcome back to Dombås in Norway. So, this is the other surprise truck. When we were in Iceland, I told you I had two that I wanted to drive in Scandinavia. One was that DAF that we drove the past few weeks with that great big Kraker trailer on it. And this is the other. This is an RJL Scania Streamline, and then it's got the cast box on it via his rigid conversion. And yeah, just kind of a simple truck. I mean, I don't really go in for all the 1 billion lights. I like some lights, but I don't like accessorizing my truck, you know what I mean, just dressing it up like an Easter egg. And the reason I'm not going down low is because that tree is in the way. So we've also got a matching box on the back, and at least so far I haven't been able to figure out a way to have a skin on the cab and a skin on the box. There is a way to do it, but I feel like it's dropped off a little bit, and that recently not as many people have been doing it as have in the past. Because it used to be like the first iteration of this type of truck, you could have skins on the front and back, right? And as it stands right now, the skin that you put on the cabin of the truck tries to repeat itself on the box of the truck, and it doesn't look right. So I just went with the white in the interim. I'll figure it out. Or, I won't, maybe. So we have picked up a load of trees, I want to say. Yeah, we're hauling trees, and we're going to haul them to Kokkola, Finland. However, we've got kind of a long box on there, and this is a ferry crossing here. And I've had some bad luck where occasionally the spawn on the destination end of the ferry, it'll spawn you half in a wall. And the box will just rattle around in there till you have 100% damage. So when we get to Umeå, we're going to take a look and see what that ferry looks like. If it doesn't look good, we're going to drive up and around. This is the Baltic Sea, is it not? I believe it is. But we'll drive up and around if we have to. But that's down the road a ways. For now, let's get rolling. I did just sleep. It is morning. 10 a.m. I want to say. Let's get this going. Yeah, 10:30. So we did just sleep, and I don't know. Yep, this truck does have GPS on board, so we don't need that. So we'll get some wipers going. We will get some lights on. Older trucks, so we don't have the HID lights that we were running in our DAF last week. And I think, yeah, full tank of gas. Lift axles are up. Brake is off. Here we go. So I saw this morning, this was interesting, because it's like, it just doesn't rest, man. We are chasing the dragon. We are absolutely chasing the dragon when it comes to video gaming. I saw this morning when I fired up the game to record the episode. Now we were in 1.33, and 1.33 was kind of a big deal. And we were waiting for, at least I was waiting for ProMods to catch up. Because we're on ProMods 2.32. Yeah, and I was waiting for ProMods to get caught up. And then I would assume, I can barely see out this window, I would assume it would be ProMods 2.33. I think that would make sense. And that would have them aligned finally so that you could know, your ProMods version. Whether your ProMods version was up to date with your, get my head turned around here. Right? You see what I'm saying? You would know immediately if your ProMods was in line with your whatever patch or version of ETS2 you were running. Does it make sense? I think it does. So that's what we were waiting for. That's what I was waiting for. And it's been a while. It's been several months. Typically, ProMods comes out, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks after a patch. This was kind of a big patch. It's taken a while. Well, I fire up the game today. And rather than, now obviously I wouldn't see that in game, I'd have to look it up independently, but rather than seeing something about ProMods 2.33, I see that the game is patched up to 1.34. Oh, game, what are you doing to me? What are you doing? So I take a look, and of course all things ProMod are broken, so that won't start. Uh-oh. Come on. This truck is, Oh, yeah. This truck is on about 600 brake horsepower. So hopefully we can get up this hill with our load of trees. So, but I've learned. Oh, I've learned. And I really like this profile. And I've got a lot of hours into it. So what I did was I copied my profile to the desktop. Because I've learned through trial and error, I've learned through bad experience that if you deactivate mods to try to see if you can keep most of your profile working in a patch, if you delete mods or uninstall or deactivate mods, and then you try to start a game on a new patch and it doesn't work, when you go back to the previous, when you roll back, that profile is now bound to the more current version. So in this case, this profile was working on 1.33, right? We would deactivate some mods. We would try it in 1.34. It wouldn't work. We'd say, that's fine, we'll roll back to 1.33. But because we tried it in 1.34, when we started it in 1.33, it would be a hot mess. It would not work. Didn't matter because I did save. Now, it wouldn't even start, even with the red mods deactivated. Absolutely would not start in 1.34. Probably because we own garages in non-base game, non-DLC cities. We own garages in pro mod cities, and that always causes problems. And actually, that's one of the reasons that I rarely buy garages. But I've been buying them lately. And that's one of the, I guess, unintended consequences. You know, when you keep it simple, when you don't buy garages, it does make it easier to save a profile as the game patches up. But anyway, story for another day. So I saved my profile to the desktop. When things didn't work out, I went ahead and reloaded it. And we're back in 1.33. I saw in the patch notes for 1.34, it said a lot of cosmetic changes. And they also introduced the Man Euro TGX. Reverse that. The Man TGX Euro 6. Which doesn't really mean anything to us because we have the badass Madster version of the Man. You say man, you say M-A-N. Well, whatever it is that you say. We got one. So we don't necessarily need that one. Whoa. We've got the frosty physics running, and I constantly forget how slippery it is, particularly on these little twisty roads. Let me slow down a bit. But then you know what happens. Then we're late. But what can you do? So yeah, I don't know if I'll get that base game TGX Euro. I mean, I feel like the one we have is all we could ever want. Definitely got a lot more accessories, a lot more chassis options, so we'll see. But other than that, I didn't see anything really groundbreaking. You know, like I guess there's two kinds of patches for Euro Truck. There's great big ones that really changed the game. Ownable trailers. What's another big one? Cable dynamics. I know a lot of people don't really care about that. They say you can't see them when you're in the truck anyway. I know they're there. I know they are. So that's kind of a big deal, to me anyway. And I know some of the patches are sort of, not preemptive. Yeah, I guess that's the word. They're sort of paving the way for upcoming DLC. So there will be changes made in a patch that you won't really notice or care about. And then when the DLC drops, you realize, oh yeah, okay, they needed to do that so the DLC could work. So nothing like that, at least that I saw in 1.34 for the most part. I think it's just that MAN truck. And just slow down a little bit here, yeah. I think mostly it's just the MAN truck, and they said there's some cosmetic stuff. Now, here's what I'm really curious about. I've wondered about this for a long time. And what I've wondered about is how far ahead is the Pro Mods crew with regards to the next patch. I don't know if SCS sends them maybe some basic information, right? Or some working notes, or just some guidelines. I don't know if SCS sends them like the full version of the patch. I guess almost like before it's tested, you know, so they can start working on what they do. Because I'll say this every episode if I have to. Pro Mods is ridiculous. It really is. And I don't know how they give it away for free. In some ways, it's bigger than the game itself. And I know, ETS2 has the physics, the trucks, the traffic. It's got like the core of the game. So obviously, you couldn't have Pro Mods without ETS2. Pro Mods is definitely an add-on. I get that. But in some ways, it seems like Pro Mods is sort of bigger than the game. I mean, in terms of file size, but also in terms of like what it does. I guess it's ambitious, man. It's a next level mod. I think in all of the games that I play that have mods, that is the biggest mod that I know of. The only mod that I can even think of that's bigger is that one for GTA 5 that flips everything and makes you a cop. Right? Instead of being a bad guy, you're a cop. Things like that. I mean, that's pretty big. That's pretty ambitious. But you get what I'm saying. It's huge. So surely there is some lead time for the Pro Mods crew. Like, they don't get it the same day we get it. I just don't know how much earlier they get it. So I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know if this whole time Pro Mods has been working on a patch for 2.34, or if a couple days ago they realized, like, hey, all the work we've done over the past 8 weeks, bin it. It's not going to work. We have to start over again. I don't think that's the case. Could be, though. Anything is possible. I've seen some crazy things in this. What? No, that's fine. I've seen some crazy things in this life. I really have. So when I say anything is possible, I mean it, man. Anything is possible. Right. So we are on 580 horsepower in this truck, and I love the exhaust, man. Now, this is not the full-on ghost pipe exhaust, but it's pretty effing loud, I have to say. I don't know how I would feel about this exhaust in a real truck. There goes my voice. How do we do? 12 minutes, not bad. I don't know how I would feel about this exhaust in a real truck. I think this would get pretty annoying pretty fast. I mean, I love the sound of engines, but for just hours and hours, particularly on a flat highway with the cruise control locked in, just droning away, oh, that would make me crazy. But in little half-hour bursts in a video game, works just fine for me. Something happening down here. Okay. All right. Now, I will say also, my frame rate is really taking a beating right now. And I don't know if it's the snow. I don't know if it's the lights on this truck, because there's a ton of lights on the box. And there's also a ton of lights on the back of the cabin. And they're all reflecting in our mirror there on the left-hand side. So I don't know what it is, but we're definitely, could be the snow, could be the region, could be a lot of things, but we're hanging on to 30, but just barely. But you know what? There's worse things. Oh. This is a twisty road. I do like these tandem rings. I always have. And I don't know what it is about it, but some kind of, I don't know. I mean, they're challenging, but there's something just kind of, I don't know, special about them. Does that make sense? Is that a word? What's his name again? But they work. They definitely work. And I do like, find the right gear. I do like that about this game. I feel like it's gotten big enough, even without Pro Mods. It's gotten big enough that depending on how you play it, and right now with all the other things that I have going on in my world, I'm playing it about an hour a week. I seriously only drive my truck about an hour a week. The same on ETS. And from that perspective, it takes so long to get from one side of the map to the other that when you get to it, it's almost like not getting to it for the first time, but it's like, oh yeah, I remember this. I miss this. I know that place. You know what I mean? It's not, I think that's one of the directions that gaming is heading in with big world gaming, where we can, I don't want to say like lose perspective, but yeah, intentionally, like we would lose perspective because these worlds are so big. So I'm saying it's the opposite of a map that you get bored with or a map that gets redundant. You know what I mean? Where you're like, yeah, I've seen it. This is all the same. It's all the same. Been there, done that. And with a big world map like ETS, you know, right now we're in Scandinavia. I don't know the next time we'll get to back down to Italy. Probably a couple months from now. And we still haven't been to Greece yet, right? Which was new in this latest Pro Mods. So, to me, that is the opposite of getting bored with a game, is when a game is so big that it can still surprise you even though you've already been surprised by it. Does that make sense? Yeah. That the map is so big that you can be surprised by something the first time you go there, but you get back there so far in the future. Did I say that right? You understand what I'm getting at. The next time that you get there will be so many weeks or months from now that even though you've already seen it, seeing it again, it's still kind of like, oh yeah, this is really cool. So in that way, I think it does sort of echo the real world or mimic the real world. And that, you know, that's what traveling is like. You may not get to places all the time. You may only get there a few times in your lifetime. But to have been a place and then go back to it is always kind of nice, particularly when it's been long enough that you can be surprised by it again. Yeah, I know what I meant right there. I think I got it right. I think I said it right. But that's I think one of my favorite things about Pro Mods is that it's so big that it's almost difficult to see all of it in one version. And I know other people play this game a lot more than I do. But it's still, I don't know. It still works for me. This game, man, this whole game just works for me. I love it. And I'm really digging this weather, too. It typically doesn't snow for this long. Although in Frosty, snow obviously is taking the place of rain, so your snow probability is determined by your rain probability setting. Oh dear, what do we want to do here? Oh, shoot. Do we want to stay straight? Yeah, I think we do. Oh. Okay, dodged a bullet there. Some of these big traffic circles in Scandinavia, they're fascinating because some of them are down below the highway. But in the US, at least on the West Coast, I would call it freeway. They're down below the freeway, and then others, the freeway drops down under the traffic circle. But regardless, you've got this great big traffic circle, separate and distinct from the freeway itself. And using the small GPS in the dash, even with the little helper arrows, it can be really hard to see. Whoa. Really hard to see where they want you to go. So, but we're making it. We're getting there. Wow, this is kind of a tricky road, I have to say. And this is, even with the extra axle in the back, this truck is a handful. But you know what? We kind of like it that way, don't we? I don't know how you feel about driving in ETS, but I like it when it's kind of not a challenge, but like, I don't know. Yeah, a challenge. Yeah, that thing I said I didn't mean, that's exactly what I meant. I like it when it's challenging. I like it when it's a little bit tricky. Now, you know what I have not seen on the ETS2 side that I have seen a couple times on the ATS side is these bigger traffic incidents. So it was in 1.32, I want to say, that we got, or 1.31, I don't know. There was a couple patches back. We got random traffic incidents, but they were small. They were roadside incidents. Now we have actual stuff going on with traffic. And on the ATS side, at least, traffic gets rerouted, which I learned the hard way. They're not kidding. Like when they say a highway is closed, it's closed. It may not be closed in a way that you can see, but it's closed down the road. So you want to make your recalculation and not drive around the barrier as I did. Because then what happens is when you get 70 miles down the road, then you realize, yes, the road is closed. You cannot get through here. And the reason they had it closed at that last exit, right, like where they pointed it out to me, the reason they had it closed all the way back there is because that's the last place that I could have rerouted. Now I got to kind of backtrack. So I've seen that on the ATS side. As far as I understand, that's on the ETS side as well. I just feel like I haven't seen it yet. But again, is there a probability for that? I think there is. I want to say there is a slider for roadside incident probability. I could be wrong about that, but I think there is. So maybe I need to slide mine up a little, because I really haven't seen a ton of roadside incidences, and I don't think I've seen any road closure incidents. But to be fair, we are running pro mods on ETS, and there's nothing similar for ATS. I mean, there's coast to coast, but I don't consider that to be of the same quality of pro mods. But perhaps pro mods cancels that out, and that's why we haven't seen it. Could be. What is going on up here? Road looks like it goes all wonky boo boo. I feel like I've been on this road before, which sort of ties in with what I was saying earlier, that in the real world, if you planned a trip and you were like, I'm going to go up this road, I've been on that road before, you could do that. Well, in a small world game, of course you've been on that road before. You've been on all the roads before, like thousands of times. But in a big world game, there's a road from, I want to say from like Basel, Switzerland to like Florence, I think. It's a super twisty road through the Alps. And I like it. It's really tricky, it's really challenging, especially if it's raining. It's a kind of a nightmare. But it's really pretty, and it's a lot of fun. And we'll be in Switzerland, or I'll be in Switzerland, and I'll just pick a trip, and I'll see that road, and it's like, oh yeah, I've been on that road. I like that road. And I that was my whole point earlier, is that with these big world games, that can happen. Whereas in previous years, or before games became as big as they're becoming now, of course you've been on that road. You've been on that road over and over and over. So it's for me, this is really an exciting time to be in gaming, and I'm glad I came back to it when I did. I feel like gaming is, I don't want to say becoming what we always knew it could be. And here's the even more amazing part. I'm trying to think if we've ever said that before. Did we say that about the original Grand Theft Auto? And you look at it now and it looks like 8-bit, I wouldn't say it's terrible, but you know what I mean? It's not. I'm into these Tom Clancy games now. Division and Ghost Recon Wildlands and Narco Road and Fallen Ghosts and everything. And I'm digging it. And the faces are, we're still in the uncanny valley when it comes to rendering a talking face. Particularly in a video game. Movies are a little different because they have, it may take a month to render a scene on like 100 servers, for like 3 minutes of footage. And we're trying to do it, not necessarily in real time, because a lot of that stuff is cutscene, but you know what I mean. It's going to be better in a movie than it is in a video game. But I know some of the Red Dead Redemption stuff. Oh, hang on. I got to mute because I got to sneeze. Be right back. Missed it. I do have a cold coming on, by the way. And that's why I'm recording early. It's about 8 o'clock Friday morning, and I wanted to get this recorded because I am getting sick, and I don't know how I'm going to feel later in the day. Anyway, you look at something like The Division, which is a few years old. Division 2 coming out soon. You look at something like Ghost Recon Wildlands, a couple years old. Red Dead Redemption 2, not that old at all, just a couple of months. And, the faces look so much better than they used to. And we'll feel the same way in another few years. Like I look back on GTA 1 now, and it's like nothing compared to GTA 5. But GTA 5 is a few years old. GTA 5 might not look that good compared to Red Dead Redemption 2, right? Well, there's going to be a Red Dead Redemption 3, probably in like another 5 years, right? You see what I'm getting at? So when I say it's a fantastic time to be in gaming, and gaming is becoming what I always knew it could be, bear in mind as I say that I think we felt the same way before. Now, the difference is sort of like the smartphone. And I can remember, man, I remember the StarTAC. I'm not old, but I'm old. But I'm not old. I remember the StarTAC, Motorola StarTAC. I remember the original Motorola Razr and how these phones were like game changers. And you look at them now and it's like, what the hell do you do with that? What's a flip phone? What, you make calls on that? You talk to people? Nobody talks to somebody on their phone anymore. Like literally, nobody talks on the phone anymore. What do you need a phone you can talk to people with? Where's the high def camera? Where's the where are the games? So at the time it was state of the art, but now it's like, But there's something else at play there. And right around the time the StarTAC came out, Motorola, because at the time people were looking for like the smallest phone. That was a big deal. And at the time, Motorola announced that it had made a phone as big as a pen. And people didn't like it because it didn't have enough size to it, right? You're talking on a pen. People just felt silly. So now we've gone in a slightly different direction, and we've got, Bluetooth earpiece now. So you don't hold a phone up to your ear at all if you talk on the phone, which most people don't anymore. But my point is the smartphone has sort of found its size, and when a new smartphone is released, that's the thing that, one of the first things you hear, is it too big? Is it too small? There is like an appropriate size for a smartphone. People don't want smartphones that big. We say we want a big screen to watch movies on, or on a plane or something. Yeah, but not that big. If we wanted a big screen, we'd pull our tablet out. If we wanted a really big screen, we'd pull our laptop out. So phones only need to be a certain size. Not too big. But also not too small, right? So once you find that sweet spot, size-wise, okay, great. Now it's just a question of features. What are you going to put in there? Well, obviously, it's got to have text and communication and social media. It's got to have a camera, front and rear. It's got to have a video camera, front and rear. It's got to have GPS. It's got to have access to a music service and a movie service, right? Got to be able to take care of email. I guess that falls in with communication and social media. But you see what I'm getting at. It's got to have that stuff. And after that, it's like, all right, well, you can put some gizmos in there. I just found out my phone, my Galaxy, has that AR emoji thing. Make yourself into a little talking bunny. It's basically a bunny with your expression, your voice coming out of its mouth. If the phone didn't have that, it's not like I wouldn't buy it. It's nice. It's a cute thing to play with, but I'm not going to use it a ton. What do I need that for? So what I'm getting at, I guess, is that phones they're there, right? Now we just need to worry about making them durable, making them waterproof, and extending the battery life. But when you get, like with the iPhone, is it the Retina display? The pixels on the iPhone are like more finite than the human eye can see. Okay. So we don't need to improve that anymore. It's already more than the human eye can see. We don't need to put any R&D. We don't need to put any time and effort into making the screen higher resolution. We can make it brighter. We can make it, whatever. Right? You see what I'm getting at? So when I think of all that, I think about the fork. And I think I've told you this before. Yeah, the fork. The fork is done. The fork is no longer evolving from an industrial design perspective. The fork is done. Well, I feel like the phone is sort of done too. And in a way that you couldn't say that about the phone in, say, the 1970s. You couldn't say it about the mobile phone in the 1990s. Still had a long way to go. But it's there now. So when I think about video gaming, I wonder, will we get to a point where video games are essentially done in terms of quality? And I mean the quality of the I guess the technical aspect, not the quality of the gameplay, not the quality of the story, but the quality of the technical aspect. Are we there? You know, there will be a time where rendered characters in video games are indistinguishable from human beings. Okay. Well, once they're indistinguishable, do we need to keep working on that? Or to go to the other end of the spectrum, to go from something human and physical to something mechanical? You know, at some point, racing sims will get to a point where it's indistinguishable from driving a real car. Put somebody on a motion platform, run the simulator, and then ask them, you know, were you just driving a real car? And they'll say, I don't know. You know, once we get to that point, then it's just a question of improving, again, not the quality of the sim itself, but the quality of the story or the whatever. So I think about where racing sims are now. You know, things like iRacing. It's not quite photorealistic. And even a set of Corsa Competizione, which I guess is going to be the newest, you know, when it's released this spring, this summer, that will be the most recent big-time racing simulator. It's not quite photorealistic, but on a good enough system, with everything maxed out, it's pretty close. A moment, please. Got to concentrate a little bit here. So you can understand what I'm getting at. I'm asking, you know, how much further gaming has to go. Now, what is this telling us to get off, and then it's going to put us right back on? It does this up here in this part of the world. It does this up here sometimes, and I think it has to do with like the shortest distance. Oh, you know what? I remember this intersection. I think I hit something here. Hoping I don't hit something this time. That would be ironic. It'd be horrible also. Boosters. Yeah, I think maybe I did. And I also, as I came through there, I looked over at the timer on the audio recording app on my utility laptop and saw we are at 33 minutes. And I realized I should have pulled over right there, because we were already off the freeway. So next available place we'll pull over. And you know what? I didn't even need to do that. I could have. Nope. Timing worked out. Thought we were going to stay 2 lanes for a while, but we're dropping down to 1. So yeah, I think you see what I'm getting at. At some point, gaming will be, you know, further improvements in the technical aspects will be kind of a diminishing return. Man, I'm really digging that it's snowed this whole trip. Right. Okay, so we're just looking for a place to pull over now. And man, I don't even know how long this trip is. Scandinavia is a little bit deceptive, because I know, being an American, being the ugly American, when I think about Scandinavia, I'm like, oh yeah, we're little postage stamp countries, right? Liechtenstein. And not true. Scandinavian countries are pretty damn big. So I feel like we've got quite a ways to go. In fact, we got a little flat stretch of road here. Yeah. Yeah, we've been driving half an hour. We've got at least another hour of drive time. So this will be another 3 episodes. But I think this will work out because it is the 8th. Today is the 8th. You'll see this on the 9th of February. February is almost exactly 4 weeks. The 9th is pretty close to the 7th. So hopefully we'll finish this series. We'll do 3 more. So we'll do the 9th today. We'll do the 14th. We'll do the 21st. And then at that point we'll have to make a quick run up to Murmansk. And then we'll make our turn south and we'll pull Frosty out. So we'll run Frosty till the end of February. Is it a deal? It's a deal. They agree. So yeah, we'll run Frosty till the end of February. We'll run this truck till the end of February. And then when we make our turn south, we will, we'll pull Frosty, we'll hop in a new truck, and we'll start making our way down through the Baltic states. Now by then, will Pro Mods be available for 1.34 by then? Oh, game. Always messing with me. Always messing with me. And I just heard the yawn. That's interesting. Okay. So we got to sleep too. Here comes a fuel station. We're going to pull in here. Whether we sleep or not, we're definitely going to pull in here. I'm going to end the episode. And I may, if I can sleep here, I will. If I cannot, I will, I'll find some place to sleep off camera and we'll pick it up from there. Liking the yellow driving lights. I can't see anything, man. Where is this place? Okay. Let's do this. And I don't think I need fuel, but I might. Swing it back around that way. Swing it back around that way. Right. Okay. So we get her in neutral. Set the brake. Wipers off. Lights off. Oh, love that sound. Let's take a look from outside. Yeah, I think we did all right. Cool. And that'll be our screenshot. Maybe. We'll see. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator 2. And we will see you next time. Take care now.